What's up, everybody? Welcome to Studio Wesley Live, our weekly hangout for community and connection. I'm Derek with a great panel tonight. I haven't been here in weeks. It has been weeks since I've been here. I feel like it's been way too long. I don't know y'all, but my mom might pop in the crowd tonight just because my mom literally just called me. She just called me, and it's one of those things where like I can't answer the phone right now, mom, because I'm about to do Studio Wesley Live. So I sent her the link. We'll see if she pops in. She might not pop in. We don't know. But hey, everybody, it's good to see everybody tonight. It's going to be a really, really great show. I'm excited. And let's just see how everybody's doing. And I'm curious, since it's February 15th, I would love to hear, as our panel introduces themselves tonight, who wished you were their Valentine? Outrageous answers only. Grace, how's it this evening?
It is. It is well, I think. It's kind of muggy outside.
Mm.
It's just very like damp and foggy and I like it, but my hair doesn't love it, so I'm being really brave. And I think the saints and the martyrs just really wish that like I haven't like visited a relic in a while. I haven't
Wow.
and I feel like we haven't like chit-chatted enough. And I think that like I've made a lot of like friends over the years, right? Like I saw St. Jude's arm a while back. I saw like St. Benosa and some other people, and I just like haven't checked in on them in a minute, and I feel like they're like yearning and they miss me, and like I miss them too, to be fair. But we could have, I could
Grace,
have asked them to be my Valentine, and we didn't.
you literally have set the bar for this this opening question. Like none of us are probably going to rise to that level. You went out for martyrs and saints. Wow,
You
that's
wanted an
great.
outrageous answer, and it
I
is both
did.
outrageous and one of the most serious answers I could have given.
Outrageous. I mean, you went in. So hello, Grace. It is good to see you this evening. Neil, how's it, my friend?
Hello. It is similar weather circumstances here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm starting to feel like a weather forecaster. It's a little muggy outside. Touch of rain, touch of clouds, because there's a storm blowing through the area.
You sound
Um,
like when the airplane is landing and they tell you what the weather is like when they're like, "We are landing in Atlanta, Georgia. Weather out here is."
This is your captain speaking, and it's 77 degrees Fahrenheit at the Atlanta International Airport. It's going to be pretty smooth.
anyways,
And thanks for flying Delta Airlines.
Thank you for flying Delta Airlines. This is your pilot.
Always.
all right. Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sidetrack.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna give you a two-tier outrageous answer. I'm gonna give you a low-tier outrageous answer, and then like a high-tier outrageous answer. Low-tier outrageous answer is Sabrina Carpenter. That woman has been living in my head rent-free. Every single album, every single song, she's been getting me through everything.
Mhm.
That little blonde and the Muppets. I still haven't seen it yet. I don't think I'm ready for it. To be honest, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Just like I know about the thing with like her and the chickens and like I know about it, but that's my low tier outrageous answer. My high tier outrageous answer is a saint who is almost always around my neck, except for right now, what I need her to be is Saint Bridget of Kildare, because loved that woman, loved her before she became canonized in sainthood, when she was simply an Irish goddess. Thank you, Catholicism, for keeping her alive. Which reminds me, the saint. I think this actually might have been a holdover from when she was a pagan goddess, but there was a whole thing where like she had a fire at a monastery, and like there's like these nuns basically who are like the order of like Saint Bridget, who kept this fire alive for like hundreds of years. I don't think they do anymore, but I think they brought it back or something like that. Anyways, those are my two tier, my low tier and my high tier.
Wow. I mean, y'all have really like taken a question that I thought was going to be like one thing and you've turned it into this other thing. So Taylor, I don't know what your answer is going to be, but how are you this evening?
I am doing well. Yeah, I'm in Jacksonville too, so the sun just started popping out. My cat enjoys watching the rain, so
Hmm.
that's cool. Um, yeah, I I don't know about this question. But the one thing that I could think of, is One Direction. Because I used to like them back in the day before like my music taste deferred. But I'm like, I feel like I could be Valentine with One Direction.
Taylor, can I join you? Can I join you? Is that okay?
Sure, come on the journey. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I got nothing, but I just thought like, yeah. I'm like, what
Thank you. You have level set the conversation very, very well. So I will join you in my outrageous who wished that I was their Valentine. I gotta be honest with y'all. Ewan McGregor really wishes that I was his Valentine. Like he really does. We've talked about it and like we've just he wishes that like he and I could be closer and that yeah, but it, just hasn't fallen that way. So
Well, if you
yeah,
like talked about it though, then like what's the holdup?
the holdup is that
Either he wants you or he doesn't. And if
the
he
holdup
wanted
is
to, he
that you
would.
think that I've talked to Ewan McGregor. That's a holdup. All right, friends, we're gonna go straight to highlight of the week. Let's go. Highlight of the week is our regular segment where each member of the panel shares something they think the Studio Wesley universe should know, something maybe as close to them as their neighborhoods or as far out as the nations, but we think that everybody should be aware of it. So I'm gonna start with Taylor. Taylor, what's your highlight for this week?
Yes. So my highlight of the week is kind of short and sweet, but I think it's cool. So I scrolled on Instagram and I found a post about like 5 books that are coming out by deaf authors. Some in the span of this year. So I'll read the titles of them. Obviously, I don't know what they're about, because they're not out yet. But they are, and the link will be the post that I saw. But one of them is called the Gallaudet 11, which Gallaudet is the famous college in Washington D.C. It looks like it's about astronauts. It looks like a kid-ish book. It will come out next month in March, so that sounds cool. Someone to daydream about. Looks like a romance type book. So that's cool. That's coming out next month as well. The Gravewood looked coming out in April. It looks like a really like a romance book. Mother Time is by a deaf author that I've like heard about in the past. I actually tried to read one of her books, didn't finish it, but I don't reading is not my forte. So that's coming out in May. And then the last one is Stops Along the Way. That's coming out in May as well. Looks like a fiction-ish kind of book. So yeah. I think it's cool. I think that like it's nice to see that deaf authors are getting representation because their thought process is a little bit different, but they could provide different perspectives that like everybody, deaf and hearing or hard of hearing, can learn about. So yeah, that's my highlight for this week.
Taylor, thank you so much for bringing this beautiful highlight. Like I'm going to pay attention to this reading list. I'm also wondering if there's a market for book interpretation videos. Because like there's Audible for those who would rather listen than read, sight. But I'm wondering if there's like a video version of these books so that a person could get a similar experience from like the audio version. I don't know, like, should we start this business, Taylor? Should we start this business of like sign language versions of books?
We could, because I know that there's like a business that does like interpretation of like TV shows and movies. But I haven't like ever seen a book. Well, no, I know that some people have done like children's books, but I don't think I've seen like adult books interpreted. But maybe there's something I'm missing. But
Is
I'm
is
saying,
there such a thing as like signed version of like plays? Like, is it like, can there be, like an basically like an all deaf cast for like Hamlet or something like that? You know what I mean? Like just
I mean,
signing the whole thing, that'd be cool.
there is like deaf theaters. I know there's like Deaf West, and there's one other one. That that have like yep yeah, they have done like different theaters, and I know that like a lot of theaters in the area do like provide like ASL interpreted performances, but it's like very few. But if you could do it, then yeah.
That's pretty cool.
wow. So many thoughts. Taylor, this is a highlight. Like, this is a highlight of highlights. So thank you for bringing that highlight this week. Neil, what's your highlight for the week?
Hello, I'm back again with local Jacksonville news in the food and beverage scene. So to give a brief bit of context, there is a lovely sort of French fine dining restaurant just down the road from my house called Orsay. It's been a sort of staple in Jacksonville for a long time. They do a mean like beef bourguignon, a bunch of like French classics as well as some other maybe slightly Italian leaning dishes. But a bunch of the chefs from there a few years ago, I don't know exact number, ended up like leaving just because they got tired of, working lines and doing, the whole fine dining shtick in the kitchen. And they decided they're just going to open up a food truck and make a bunch of money. And so the food truck is called Hard Pressed. And if you live in Jacksonville, you have seen Hard Pressed, probably around. They are often touted as the best smash burger in town, which makes sense because, like, it's not like guys who wanted to open a food truck and were like, and this is what we're gonna do. Like Grace, I'm pretty sure our friend Josh Guyon had like a moment where he was like, I'm gonna open a food truck like years ago, right? Yeah, like I haven't talked to Josh and Lauren in ages, but
it's his like secret little bucket list daydream.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should do that. Like, instead of like a lemonade stand for a kid, it's like a food truck for Josh. Anyways, like it's a smash burger done incredibly well because all of the ingredients are spectacular and like done to a high level, but also for food that is like very approachable and affordable. And as of, I think like it was either earlier this month or last month where they made the announcement. But they have a second food truck now, which is pretty awesome. And they're going to have a brick and mortar. So who are familiar with Jacksonville and the San Marco area, there was this I don't know, was or is at this point, but a little donut place called Good Dough, which my friend, my roommate Andrew used to work there. Good Dough is going to be moving out, and Hard Pressed Burgers is going to be moving in. So they are yeah. So they're finally going to have themselves a brick and mortar. So it's going to be Hard Pressed forever, hopefully. But
wow,
this is my highlight.
Out.
Yeah, something like that. I think not to talk negatively, but I think everything over there is just kind of like collapsing under some new ownership from a little while ago. So sad to see that go, because it's a lot of awesome places that have been around for a long time leaving, but we'll save that sadness for another live. Actually, I had that sadness 1 or 2 lives ago. Never mind.
You did.
I'm sad you couldn't be there, Derek, but don't worry.
I was in the comments. I was here. Thank you, Neil, for that highlight. I'm looking forward to Hard Pressed. Looking forward to it. Grace, your highlight this week.
My highlight of the week. So Muna, who some people might know from hits like Life's So Fun, Got My Mini Skirt and My Rollerblades On, Silk Chiffon. They do mostly not mostly. They are queer they're a queer band. They do music that is a hit with my culture. And they just came out with a song called Dancing on the Wall, I believe is the name of it. Michael, you have it pulled up, so you know. Yeah, it is. Good. I'm glad that I know my own highlight. So they just came out with this song on Tuesday, I believe. But the exciting thing is that there is an album that is coming out. They announced the album. It comes out May 8th. I love Muna. They're so talented. The main singer, Katie, she's such a good singer. She has like a particular kind of voice that like it's just so particular, and she sounds so good when she's live as well, which you don't always get. Like somebody that sounds good on the album and live and like still sounds like accurate to her voice when she's on the record, but then also like it's just it's she's so talented, and like the band, they're all so good. So I'm excited. I'm just very excited for that. I haven't like spent the most time with Dancing on the Wall yet. It's maybe like the theme of the song is not necessarily my type of song, or it's not like the like theme, like I'm not like, oh my god, I relate to this song so much and so I love it, but I am very excited because it's more Muna and they're so good. And so I'm take a sip of your water every time I said I'm so excited, and you would be properly hydrated throughout this live stream. But yeah, I'm pumped. It's gonna be good. And like
I'm
it's
making
just,
a promise.
you never know. Yeah, you're making a promise.
I'm making a promise.
Derek promises to
listen to Dancing on the Wall. I promise.
Derek promises to listen to Dancing on the Wall. Can
Yes.
we get a burr, 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 burr
Okay.
Yeah.
for the audience? Ooh.
It's been a couple weeks since Michael's been in backstage. I do. I promise.
I love this.
Oh, it's great. Yes, I do. I promise to listen because it sounds intriguing. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the link that's going to be both available in the chat, but also Allison, who's great assistant director, she's going to make sure that we get all of these links on our Instagram feed this week. So I will listen to Dancing on the Wall.
Thank you for your allyship, Derek.
Oh my gosh, I'm out here for it. Let's go. Let's go. And now my highlight for this week, thank you, friends, for your highlights. My highlight this week is something that you can actually experience tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern if you have the HBO Max app. If you don't have the HBO Max app, then I got nothing for you. But if you do, this incredible show called A Night of the Seven Kingdoms started a few weeks ago. And y'all, this show has just captured my heart. It's a show about Sir Duncan the Tall, an egg who is actually a Targaryen. And if you understand the Game of Thrones world, Game of Thrones universe, the Targaryens is a very specific family. And it, oh my God, it's just such a great show. It's very different actually from the Game of Thrones that most people probably are thinking of. It is in the Game of Thrones universe, in the Game of Thrones timeline, but it's a different, it's trying to do something different. It is in Westeros still, and it's still sort of this world that is, I would say, just very unstable. It's a very unstable world, but this friendship between Sir Duncan the Tall and Aegon Targaryen, man, these guys. So the very first episode, at the very end of the first episode, is this scene. And I just need you guys to know that when I watched this scene, I teared up. I wasn't even expecting it. Like, I was not expecting to tear up. You don't watch Game of Thrones thinking you're going to tear up. And this last scene, I was like, oh my God, what just happened? And like, I had a whole little like tear right on the edge of the lid here. And the article that I put that I've used for the highlight that'll be available to everybody tomorrow, it's this guy named Killian Faith Kelly who is writing in British GQ, and this is his last line in his article. He said, "We're still firmly rooted in the gutter, but we're allowed a quick glance at the stars." And not only does this describe this series, we're getting episode 5 tonight, but I feel like it describes a little bit of our world. Like our world right now, I'll say this really quick and then I'll step out. But our world right now is really unstable. And you just feel like it's kind of chaos. And like there's just all kinds of stuff coming at us. And then comes this story about these two people who, yes, they've got their own stuff going on, but they're finding friendship in the midst of it. Oh my gosh, so good. So I submit to all of you, I would invite you to watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. If you've been keeping up, then you'll get episode 5 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. If you've not started episode 1, we're 5 episodes in, so it's not going to take that long. And if you don't have HBO Max, I don't know what to tell you. But and I'm not going to let you use my password because I'm not going to promise that at all. So that's the highlights for this week. Really, really great. And now we've got some announcements. Solid 2 announcements tonight. 1, we will have community group tonight after the live. And so if you would like to get that link and join us, we'd love to have you. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Jesus' transfiguration because it's Transfiguration Sunday for a lot of us. So I'm looking forward to being there with y'all. And we've got this other really, really great announcement that we want to share.
I said fifth. I just got like it was like this instead of like this. And I was like, yeah, fifth. But it was like this, and I was like, oh, my thumb is not showing. I need to like have it as 5. That was so weird. Okay, whatever.
Welcome back to Studio Wesley Annex,
Audio-visual podcast
where we break down the lectionary texts of the week.
I'm your host, Sam Sells-Williams, and I'm joined by my 2 lovely co-hosts,
John McClellan
and Issa Lopez.
That's right. This season on Studio Wesley Annex, we are trying something a little bit different. Instead of a rotating cast of characters, we are going to have 2 amazing co-hosts joining me on this journey to have one continuous conversation over the lectionary texts. We wanted to have 2 co-hosts so that we can continue having and growing on the same ideas in our lectionary text and be able to bring new segments, new bits, and new conversations to what it means to be in Studio Wesley Annex.
But don't worry, we are still going to be bringing the same depth of conversation and also chaos that you've come to expect here on Annex.
Join us for our first episode premiering February 5th. Everywhere you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And with that, all God's people are going to say, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention to Annex, I need you to get on board. This last week's episode was pretty beautiful. I just appreciated the reflection that Sam and Issa and John were bringing to the text and just doing a great job. Some really beautiful, deep discussions of the lectionary text. So friends, if you're not already paying attention to Annex, go ahead and subscribe. Check it out. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple. You need to just be paying attention. You need to listen to it. So always, they're usually up every Thursday-ish ahead of the Sunday. And they're really, really great. So thanks, friends, for all you're bringing to Annex, Sam and Issa and John. Good stuff. So with that, we're going to head into one of our recurring segments called Studio Wesley Cafe. Studio Wesley Cafe is one of our recurring segments where one of the members of our panel will bring some kind of artistic piece to us to discuss, to appreciate, to ponder on as we think about all the things going on in our world. And so Grace is bringing our piece tonight, so I will pass the mic to her.
Nueva York. I'm so excited. Obviously we didn't have a live last week. And I was gonna talk about this for my cafe turn on live last week, and then we were like, no, we know how to do this. We know what to do. And so this week, friends, we are discussing the Bad Bunny Super Bowl 60 halftime show.
Bad Bunny.
Get excited! Get excited!
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Ay. Mucha novia. Ay. Anyway, I had fun, if you can't tell. A fun fact about me. I know that I've talked about how much I love Coca-Cola. I have three autistic loves in life, and they are Coca-Cola, Depression Glass, and Super Bowl halftime shows. So find me, talk to me about pretty much any Super Bowl halftime show, I probably have opinions on it. Probably. I won't say a Sith never deals in absolutes, even though that's an absolute. So whatever. But I'm excited for us to talk about the Bad Bunny show today. If my genius lyrics will stop refreshing and actually show me. Basically, what I want to talk about today is the like overarching themes of his show. Because I think he did some really beautiful things. I mean, he did some beautiful work with his show anyway, but especially when you look at it in light of like other Super Bowl halftime shows and like what they have done, like the like performance element, the way that they like involve additional people aside from the headlining performer, the like theatrics of it all. I think he like utilized really common Super Bowl halftime show tactics to address what he wanted to address, and so I'm super excited for us to talk about that. So first off, what I want to talk about are some of the like Easter eggs or some of the little like hidden details that you may or may not have noticed. So first off, when the man at the very, very start of the show is standing in the field and he has the hat on and he says the opening line, it translates to, if you're like me and you don't yet speak Spanish because you've been lazy. He says, "How wonderful it is to be Latino. Today we drink." And that's just such a cute, fun little like introduction. Like, what a wonderful, like, especially today, how wonderful it is to be Latino, and like it's time to celebrate. Let's go. And then we see this shift into, or this like camera pan into the sugarcane fields, which are very significant for Bad Bunny's home country, Puerto Rico. And we see this like kind of, the entire show is this nod to like how has the United States interacted with Puerto Rico. Oftentimes it's how has the United States poorly interacted with Puerto Rico, how have they impacted Puerto Rico negatively. Those are the words that I can use without dropping like every expletive in the book about it. But we're going to be professional today. So we see everybody is like in these fields, but even like on the field, on like the Super Bowl field, all of the celebration is taking place inside of the cane. And so you see this celebration happening inside of the exploitative work. And so I just thought that that was really beautiful. All of the, to my understanding, all of the like little like stands, all of the little like shops, the people that were at them were the real owners of those real shops. And so it was just really cool. The proposal that happened was a real proposal. The wedding that happened was a real wedding. They invited Bad Bunny to their wedding, and he was like, well, I can't, but what if I invite your wedding to me? And so then they got married. There's also a little boy that Bad Bunny gave a Grammy award to, and to my understanding, that was a little boy that you might have seen. He had like this bunny hat, and he was taken by ICE, and then no, this is not it then. Never mind then. And that's why I said, to my understanding, some things are not facts.
They were like, did he really go there? Did he do that thing?
And there was a lot of conversation about it. And so then people were like, there's this back and forth.
It was confirmed that it was not the little boy.
Heard. This is good to know then.
Yep.
But yes, still very cute. There's this kid who's like sleeping at the wedding. He's like napping, which I don't know if this has been the case for like you growing up, when you're like dragged around all the family functions and you find yourself a chair and you lock in and you sleep, and it's great. So just, he had this homage and this giant love letter to not only his home country, but a lot of Latin countries. And at the end, we see that it's this giant love letter to all of America. He shouts out South America, Middle Americas, North America, Canada, even. And we heard like United States. And we're like, oh my God. But it's just really beautiful. We see the lights. We see him and some other dancers climbing up the light poles, which speaks to all of the power issues that have been happening, the like electrical issues that have been happening in Puerto Rico. Another really important thing that we should be learning about and doing our best to address as individual humans in a society of many, many, many people with a lot of control over a lot of spaces. But it was just beautiful. he had so many guests. He had one just like everyday people guests, but then also like Lady Gaga came on, which then people had a lot of thoughts about that because it just seemed kind of out of nowhere. But also she was phenomenal and wonderful. So there's that. He had a bunch of just celebrities. We had Pedro Pascal. We had Cardi B. There were some other people. It's just fun. It's a great time. So that's not all of my thoughts, but some of my thoughts. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts about the show, about any of these like imagery pieces, anything.
Awesome. Thanks, Grace. Neil, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and number one, loved the halftime show, loved everything about it, and I found the use of like the sugarcane fields very poignant in a way, because this is at least something I'm somewhat able to talk about as a history nerd and also a bartender, because the history of sugarcane is one that is very dark and exploitative. Like, I mean, it's like every would-be conqueror came around to lands in the Caribbean and, and sort of that general hemisphere of the world and found sugarcane. They're like, oh my God, sugar. Like, so you get these titanous monsters like the East India Company, it's like, and all these other things like coming into places and, trading sugar back and forth. And it is initially thought that rum, the spirit, was actually something that was basically being distilled by the slaves working these sugarcane plantations. And then it happened that their colonist masters found that their slaves were like drinking this thing, and they're like, the hell is this? And they tried it, and then they liked it. So now, not only did they just have sugar, rum production became a massive thing as well. And, for some folks, like a lot of folks, will recognize that Puerto Rico is a big producer of rum, because after the original Bacardi factory moved out of Cuba due to all of the various, political things going on there, which is also the United States' fault. But the current Bacardi factory is based in Puerto Rico. And so it's like, Havana Club, like Don Q, it's like all of these are like, like Puerto Rican rum. But, one of the things I love most about like learning about spirits is, to learn about alcohol is to learn about the history of the world. And you cannot learn about rum without learning about all of the awful things that, colonizers have done to like these nations and these areas that just naturally grow sugarcane. It truly is like a spirit of oppression in a sense, but also it made the world go round because people in power found they could make money off of it. And so to have, to what Grace was saying, the fact that these celebrations are happening like in the sugarcane fields, that's how they did it, like this is like, those are the moments in which, these people could have a bit of respite. You know what I mean? It's like hiding out of sight from their overlords, as it were. Take a sip of water every time Neil says overlords or colonist masters, and you will be perfectly hydrated by the end of this live show. But anyways, yeah, that was one of the things that like particularly stuck out to me, because it was something I like felt fairly educated on without having to look up anything afterwards. I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is about. So yeah.
Thanks for that, Neil. Wow. It's amazing how this halftime show, and I think, and Taylor, you're going to get in here in a second here, but I think this is these cultural moments, right? Like the halftime show has now become a moment where certain storylines and certain ways of seeing the world get highlighted. And clearly that just happened with Bad Bunny this past week. So Taylor, what are your thoughts about the halftime show?
Yeah, so I have like two major thoughts about it. One is like up until now, like past halftime shows, I always thought like it was just like celebrities were like doing it just to like not like show off, but just be like there wasn't really like any meaning behind the halftime shows like in the past, because it was just like song like a song like a song song. It's like, okay, like yeah, like it's just like a halftime show. But I thought like now with Bad Bunny and this halftime show, like you said, Derek, like it, like the fact that there's a lot more meaning behind it now than like in the past, like it shows that yeah, like it might not be like people that we necessarily like know about or like. The fact that they can like that the fact that they can like do something to really like pull some inspiration. Like it's kind of like a movement in a way, but it wasn't like a movement. They were just trying to like get their point across. And yeah, like we couldn't understand it because most of us don't go Spanish, but like we can like see through the visuals and see like through some of the imagery that was already pointed out, like what the moral of the story is. So that was my first thought. My second thought is I actually watched the interpreted version because there was, for the first time ever, 2 deaf people that interpreted the halftime show in Puerto Rican Sign Language, which is LPSR, I think. And like I actually like watched it because I'm like, oh, like I'm not gonna know what they're saying. Like I thought like I thought that like ASL and like Puerto Rican Sign Language are like 2 totally different things. But I watched it and I could like kind of understand what Bad Bunny was saying, but not really, because like it is kind of 2 separate languages, and like Puerto Rican Sign Language has like signs that are relevant to Puerto Rico, so we won't know it. But like I was glad for like them to get the representation as well, but also just to kind of like understand a little bit of what was being said. But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts.
Wow, Taylor, that's so many thoughts there that I've got just from your response. I want to acknowledge that there was, I think, for the first time ever, an alternative halftime show. I don't recall in the past there ever being sort of an alternative one. I do remember in Living Color when I was like a itty bitty, like I actually was shorter than I am now, doing a halftime show that was essentially an alternative. And I think it actually shaped and reshaped sort of what the halftime show is for the Super Bowl. But that was like 30 years ago, guys. Okay. more than that. It was like more than like 35 years ago. Okay. There was this alternative Super Bowl show, halftime show. And I think it speaks to something that we have to continue to wrestle with in this country. Because I did see a few people make some Facebook comments that they didn't speak Spanish, and so they didn't understand what Bad Bunny was saying. They didn't understand any of the songs, and therefore it sort of changed the experience for them. And there's a part of me that I can actually like empathize a little bit. I'm gonna give some space for it because the Super Bowl is supposed to be for all of us, even though people like me who might have been in a different country at the time that was 6 hours ahead of y'all definitely was asleep during the entire Super Bowl, even the halftime show. But it's, in one way, it's kind of supposed to be for all of us, right? Like, but then it's like, if it's for all of us, why is there a subsect that couldn't understand the lyrics? And I will say this. One of the things we must wrestle with in the United States is that anytime something is for all of us, it's still for some of us. Like there's very few ways that something, even if Bad Bunny had translated every single song that he did into English, he would then be doing something that, yes, supposed to be for all of us, but it would only really be for some of us. And so then we've got to come to this place. And this is what I feel like Bad Bunny's halftime show did for me and for a lot of people. I get to celebrate something that's for all of us, but really resonates with some of us. And you know what? That's not bad, friends. That's not, we don't lose anything because this is what I heard. Actually, I was on a Zoom call with a 60-year-old woman like a couple of days after Super Bowl. And we weren't even talking about any of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, this 60-year-old woman was like, Derek, Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. And I was like, yeah, I missed it because I was 6 hours ahead and asleep. Derek, you need to go watch it. Are you serious? You need to watch it. This 60-year-old woman was like, you need to watch it. And I was like, but, well, it was in Spanish now. And I was like, you need to watch it. And so I did. I've actually watched it 3 times now. And y'all, no, I don't speak Spanish, but it gave me something. And I think that Bad Bunny gave our nation something. We needed Puerto Rican representation. We needed the Puerto Rican story, the Puerto Rican American story. We needed the story and the legacy of colonization and what it looks like today and how people have overcome it and found love and joy and fun in the midst of it all. So yeah, I cheer for Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show, especially because it's kind of for me and not. And that's so good. That's so great. Okay, I've said lots of words. Grace, I'm going to let you have the last word, and then we're going to transition to our soul break.
Yeah, thank you. I think to close us up, one Ashrith, yes, absolutely. More justice, more peace, more justice, more peace. Or one of my favorite chants, no justice, no peace. If there's no justice, there will not be peace.
Yep.
I think it's really beautiful, like, in a way, right? It was not for my white self, you know. It was not for me. I don't speak Spanish, and that's on me. I don't speak Spanish. That's on me. But to get to see, like, the joy of, and I think Apple did this as an ad as well. Apple did an ad after the halftime show to see the joy of so many families that are, you get to see them watching this halftime show, and just like, it is a joy that we haven't seen much of recently.
Yeah.
It's a joy that we haven't. There's something about having this, like, celebration of who you are specifically. Right? There's something about being seen specifically, to be represented specifically. Not, hey, everybody's welcome here, even though that is also important. But to have a moment where, and even like Bad Bunny, he's not touring in the US because it's too dangerous.
Right.
He was wearing a bulletproof vest under his costume or his clothes for the show because it's dangerous. And so for him to be able to then have this show in America for the people that he can't come tour for says volumes, speaks volumes. So just, there's something really special about making it so that you can show up for your people.
That's good.
However you can, in light of what you and your people are going through. And I would invite all of us to, if that's not you, if you don't think that that's for you, if you don't think that that's your people, make them your people.
Yeah.
Make them your people.
Grace, thanks for bringing this great piece to Studio Wesley.
Thank you for letting me talk about it.
Absolutely. All right, friends, let's take a quick soul break. We'll be right back. Awesome, friends. We've had a great show tonight. And so, as we are bringing this show for a landing, I just want to point us to the Sunday that many of us celebrated today, Transfiguration Sunday. A lot of us in the liturgical world, the Christian liturgical world, acknowledge the day. And the text that we reflected on, many of us, is Matthew chapter 17, where Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up to a mountain, and he is, the way the scripture reads it, transfigured. They see a sight of him, a way of seeing him glorified. He's just really bright, and is like wearing these like gleaming clothes, and you got to read it. So I do invite you to read Matthew 17, and then Elijah shows up, and Moses shows up, and as far as we know, they're actually dead. So it's kind of interesting that they showed up. And there's a whole scene there. But what I want to sort of bring to the table is this thought. There's a number of people in our world that I think read this story and they get a particular interpretation that I want to invite us into. They see Jesus transfigured. Peter, James, and John sees Jesus transfigured. There's a version of Jesus that they've not seen most days. It's a version of Jesus, a way of seeing Jesus that is just so different, and yet it's the same Jesus. It's the same person that they've known, but they see him differently in this context. And here's what I want to invite us into. Again, because I've got a number of friends in different contexts, different perspectives, different identities. When they read this story in Matthew 17, they sort of find permission to see and reveal parts of themselves that they normally don't let people see. And I could say a whole lot more about that, but here's what I really want to invite you into. I want to invite us all to take this week to maybe see people differently, to see people from a different eye, from a different perspective, in a different way. And I want to invite us to see them with light. I want to invite us to see them from a place of glory. I want to invite us to see them from a place of like, wow, you are amazing. I did this on some of my flights because I was really tired on some of our flights in the last few weeks, and I was just in a not great mood. And I just had this moment where it's like, I could see people as like annoying and like getting in my way or being weird in the airport and stuff like that. Or I could see them from a place of light. I could see them from a place of value. And so I made that decision. I made a decision to see these people with a different lens. And I think that's one of many invitations in the story of Jesus' transfiguration. It's an invitation to see people differently, to allow people to be seen their best selves, allow people to be seen not the wrongs they've done or the weird things they've done, but to allow people a chance to be seen in a way that is glorifying. I don't know if you might take that on this week, but I think it might be interesting. It might be interesting to see people differently, see people from a place of light and glory. So that's my invitation this week. Hope you'll take it up. And regardless, we're going to be here next week, and I'm just really grateful. Grateful for our panel, grateful for Studio Wesley Live, grateful for all the folks, Ashford specifically, but all the folks who might have been watching us. And friends, I hope you have a really great week. Know that you are deeply loved by God, and nothing can ever separate you from God's love. Grace, Neil, Taylor, thanks for being with me tonight. And friends, we'll see you next week for Studio Wesley Live. Be well.